Hey everybody. I was kind of inspired to do this video by a recent comment which reminded me that I've been wanting to do this for a while. It's been on the back burner. But basically I'm just going to do some experiments with Sharpies. I've got 3 different Sharpies here. One of them's a metallic silver and then 2 black. I've got some Micron pens, which these are my favorite drawing pens. They're extremely fine tip felt tip pens. Like this one is 0.005 millimeters. I mean, it's tiny. It's like drawing with a human hair almost. But I'm gonna do some experiments with those, and mostly what we're going to be doing is messing with tile and using these pens and alcohol inks on tile. I'm also going to do a little experiment that I've been wondering about on Yupo, as well as a sheet of aluminum. Now, this is really thin aluminum. I work at a place that does plaques and awards and that sort of thing. So when you're in the park and you see a park bench and it was dedicated by somebody, it'll have a little metal plate. Usually they're brass colored. This just happens to be silver colored aluminum. But yeah, we're gonna try some experimenting on that. And this is the same material that I've got on my board here, which I've also had some people ask me about. It's just a sheet of that stuck onto a piece of plywood with double-sided tape, and it just gives me a nice smooth surface that I can do my alcohol inks on with Yupo. I just tape it up here, and I'm sure you've seen it in my recent videos. But I like this because I can move it around and control the flow of the inks and the alcohol on the Yupo. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I think I've covered everything as far as what we're going to play with. I do want to, right off the bat, I want to show you a work that I did a while ago, and it's still not quite finished. But what this is brass colored aluminum plating, cut down, and then it's very temporarily stuck onto a plaque with just masking tape, because I haven't decided. This has been pre-drilled with holes. This was actually a mistake from the award shop, and I just flipped it over and used the back. But I'm not sure if I'm going to do brass screws in here, or if I'm going to just take it off here completely and suspend it from 4 wires on a frame, or incorporate it into an acrylic painting on a canvas. Not quite sure. But I did want to show some of the great effects that you can get with mixing the alcohol inks and the Micron pens especially. You could probably also do this with Sharpie, although Sharpies will lay down more liquid, and it is alcohol based, so it may affect your inks a lot less than the Micron, simply because the Microns put down less fluid. But as you can see here, I did the background with the Wild Plum magenta alcohol ink. Excuse me. And then I went in here and put filled in where the leaves were going to be on the tree, and I did it in 2 layers with 2 different greens, just using the sponge or felt applicator, and I stamped in there where the tree was going to be. And then I took one of the fine Micron pens and I drew the trunk, and I drew the branches, and there were places where I didn't draw the branches to give the effect of it. Some of the leaves are in front of the branches, some are behind, that kind of thing. And then down here I drew these little flowers and some grass, all with the Micron pen on top of the alcohol inks. And I didn't have any problems at all when I was drawing as far as the ink not working. I did go back finally with a Q-tip and very carefully put the blue in the heads of the flowers there. But I just wanted to show that mixing the alcohol inks and the Micron pens works very well. And then once this was done, I did spray the whole thing with the polyurethane clear coat that I put on everything, and just to protect it. And that might give you some ideas of things you could do. I mean, you're not limited to, trees and stuff, obviously. You could do fish, you could do, all kinds of wildlife, whatever. Excuse me, I have something in my throat. So let's go ahead and get started. And the first thing I'm going to start out with is a tile, because that's what most people tend to use. And the specific question that I got was, and I believe it was Judy, might have been Susan, I can't remember now. But she wanted to draw a flower and then do the inks on top. So let's see. I'm just going to do some random stuff here. So we'll do a circle and a square, do a triangle. And I'm just trying to put a variety of lines in here. And maybe we'll add some shading to this circle. And what her response, or my response to her question in the comments was, you know, I think that the alcohol inks are going to carry a lot of this ink away. It may leave some behind, but I don't think it's going to be the best effect doing the Sharpie first, because especially on these tiles, there's nothing really for the Sharpie to really bite into as far as texture, like you get on paper. And even on the Yupo, as smooth as it is, I just feel like the Sharpie has more to grab onto for longevity. And since this is just a test piece, I'm also going to do some circles down here with the silver so we can see how it's affected. I'm going to take my big fat Sharpie and I'm just going to do a real solid area up here in the corner. And last but not least, I'm going to grab some Micron. And this is all, I got two tiles here because I'm going to do a before inking and an after inking. So let's just going to draw some stuff up there with the Micron. And then I'll draw some finer circles with this really fine Micron. And we'll just see what happens with the alcohol. Now something that I can't really factor in without doing video editing and all that stuff is how long we let this sit before we apply the inks. If I, you know, this is probably still wet because there's so much liquid there, that if I just dump alcohol in that right now, I know it's going to run all over the place. So that's something else to keep in mind is, you know, maybe if you drew it and then wait a few days for it to really fully cure, I'm sure you would get different results. I don't have a few days, so I'm going to hit it with a heat gun real quick. I can smell the alcohol coming off the Sharpies, but it's also heating up this old stuff here. All right, so I'm going to grab a little alcohol here. And you can see right with this first little drip, it's already bleeding. That line ran down with the alcohol. And that's, you know, basically my concern with trying to draw anything. It's just gonna, as soon as the alcohol hits it, you're gonna start losing your line work. Now, just out of curiosity, I'm going to go ahead and light this on fire. This isn't even getting to the alcohol inks yet, so like I said, I really don't think it's going to work too much to draw before doing anything really. I mean, you can see it's falling apart. The silver actually didn't really wasn't affected, surprisingly. The silver Sharpie there. But this stuff up here, I mean, it's terrible. The Micron pen did pretty good, but there are like flakes of it that were moved around. And these are wiping right off. So, not the best approach. Now, if we take a second tile, and I'm going to need something that'll show the inks well, the Sharpies, I mean. Just wait for this to burn off. By the way, these cans back here, these are just regular tin cans from food. And I just hit them with alcohol inks. So that might come in handy for, you know, Christmas crafts or something. Okay, but now we've got this green design going on. And without waiting too much, if I take this Sharpie, it's drawing over the inks. There are places where, let's see if I can get this. If you see this reflection right here along that line, that's where the ink is actually a little 3D, because there was a great buildup of the pigment and stuff as the alcohol burned out. When the pen goes through those areas, it doesn't draw too well. But for the other areas, it doesn't do too bad. Of course, I say that, and now my marker's starting to dry out. But I mean, you can draw on it if you wanted to emphasize certain things. Like if you wanted to turn this into a person sitting down. Or whatever. So yes, you can draw on it afterwards. And it really comes down to skill and patience as far as drawing. I'm very, very rusty with drawing. It's also hard to draw holding it this way. But again, let's try the silver. And that's actually working really well. And it may have to do with the age of my my black Sharpie there. I couldn't find another one. I wanted to have a couple ready in case that happened. But yeah, the silver one's drawing great. So And you know, there's metallic Sharpies in all different colors, so this may be a really cool option actually if you're doing flowers and stuff like that. So there we go. There's wow, that's terrible. But so that's another experiment. Let's move over to the Yupo. This is something I've been wondering for a while, and I'm sure it's not going to work. I'm sure the Yupo is going to bubble up and get all gross and everything, but I've been itching to try to light it on fire, and I've never done it. So let's see how this goes. Oh yeah, it's curling up. It's actually burned through and is completely melting, which is pretty much what I expected. And it's also making hissing noises. It's hissing at me. And it stinks really bad. So yeah, but that was no surprise. I figured that's what would happen. Now on the aluminum, whew, stinks. Going to show you basically the process that I used for that tree. It really is that easy. Grab another green. Let's go for dark bottle green. And just throw that in there for some variation and shadowing and stuff. And then once that's dry, grab a Micron pen here and this is very fast. I'm not even like trying to be good right now. This is just an experiment, but I'm going to go back to my Sharpie and I'm going to do 1/2 of it in Sharpie just so you can, yeah, this Sharpie's not doing good. Yeah, it's not even drawing on paper. I'm going to have to pause this and go get another Sharpie. Be back in a second. Okay, I managed to find 2 more Sharpies. So hopefully one of these will work. There we go, much better. Sorry about that. So, as you can see, whether you're doing a Sharpie or the Micron pen, both of them will work. The Micron pen on the raw aluminum is a little hard to see because it's so thin and all that stuff. But in the case of this tree here, I had put down, there's magenta back here and everything, and I really did. I mean, it took me a long time to fill that trunk in, and it's not even completely filled in. So it takes a while with the Micron. But I just wanted to share that with you guys as another option of a medium. This would be great for doing like koi fish and stuff like that, where you want those bright colors, but you also want that tight line work. Yeah, and so I think that's about it, really. I just quick and dirty video. Wanted to answer some questions that I've had spinning around in my head and that I've been asked in the comments and everything. So I hope this helps you guys maybe think out of the box, might spark some new ideas of things you could do. And I guess that's about it. So take care. I'll see you guys next time. Please like and subscribe and all that stuff. And have a great day. Back again. I know I said my goodbye and everything, but I did want to show this piece that I had upstairs that I completely forgot I had upstairs. This is the same technique of doing the tree and everything with the Micron pen. I believe this was the 0.5, the little bit heavier Micron pen. But this is on Yupo, and I did real, watercolor kind of technique of just letting the ink run down with a lot of alcohol and everything. And then once that dried, I went back with the stamp and did the tree just like I did on the aluminum. And then once that dried, I went back and drew the trunk and the branches. And this worked really well. Yupo loves the Micron pens. They get along very, very, very good. So I just wanted to show that to you too. If you're moving away from, if you want to try things other than the tiles, definitely Yupo is the way to go for a lot of more illustrative kind of stuff. So, yep, just wanted to show that to you. And like I said, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and have an amazing day. Take care.